along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on a life walker Johnny. Life walker Johnny. Yeah. Come along and ride on a light walker Johnny. Yeah. Yeah.
Hello. Hello, beautiful people. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's Sunday Soul podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer, the Oracle. I'm a doctor of divinity and metaphysics. So I want to welcome you. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I see there's quite a few people in the live stream on both Facebook and on YouTube. So I want to welcome everybody. You turn that music down a little bit. We're going to have an interesting time tonight. I just had to turn the gosh darn fan on over here, y'all. It was just so hot. Oh, I feel like I'm a little on the fat side. We're also going to be burning a candle tonight. I got this candle. It is called Created to Create. It's a nice blend. It's of marine moss, citrus, and driftwood. So, and I found these like really interesting little miniature candle lighters at Wally World while I was there today at the Walmart of it all. So I'm going to light this candle. This is a triple wick candle. I'm not endorsing this candle. I just like how it smells. And I was busy earlier today kind of catching up on some things. I try not to work too much on Sundays, but I did get to work today because I took a lot of time off on Friday and Saturday and hung out with the fam. So we're here today. I wanted to finish off Mercury Retrograde quietly. And we succeeded in that. So welcome to everyone here. Welcome to Coach Leslie. Welcome, Melinda J. Welcome, Jen. Preston. Welcome, Shiny. Hello, hello, hello. How are y'all? How are y'all tonight? Welcome everyone who has yet to speak up in the chat. Hey, Walkabout Bridge, how are you? Thank you so much. Ooh, and for those that are watching the video, I did not put on my lip gloss, so we're just gonna put a little lip gloss popping. Who sang that? Who had that rap? My lip gloss is popping. That little young. Well, she was young. She's short. Anyway, she was on. She was one of the hosts on America's Best Dance Crew. Deshaun, hey Deshaun. Oh, Deshaun wants to go off topic a little bit. Here, let me just deal with this real quick. Deshaun says, I know this is out of topic, but did you hear about the Jeffrey Dahmer movie about to get sued? Veda is not happy, and she's going to boycott the movie and her cousin because they weren't aware. I don't know who Veda is, Deshaun. Who's Veda? And who Veda cousin? And why them people got something to say? And that might sound cold. We're not going to talk about that. Let's not talk about that. This was close. So this is interesting because I did do a poll earlier today. And at first, it was a runaway talk about Mercury going direct, which is what we're going to talk about. So for those of you listening on the after play here, I did a poll on YouTube to ask the subscribers, what do you want to talk about tonight? Either the Dahmer docuseries, Mercury going direct, or narcissism and church leadership going to hell. That's still going to be a topic of discussion. However, at first, Mercury going retrograde, like went crazy. But we're going to touch on the Dahmer because I want to touch on that, but not tonight. We'll do this. We'll talk about this tonight, and then we will get. I can't do it tomorrow night, but we will find another time very shortly to talk about the whole Dahmer situation. Veda was the woman that was in the court case in 1991 where she got mad and tried to get out Jeffrey Dahmer. I have to find out. I don't know anything about that. She got mad and tried to get him out of jail. It's like she's reliving. Okay. I'm going to touch on this. I'm going to end up cutting this out. Yes, Juvia's Place lip gloss. Thank you. And then we'll just start it where we need to. I will say, okay, she's the one that got real mad at court. Okay. If I'm understanding it correctly, because I think that was the woman that was her cousin that passed. I think that was her. This is what I will say. This is not the first documentary that was made about him. There have been numerous hour or 2 hour situations on all those crime shows that talk about, mass killers and all that kind of stuff. And there's been even like short series. So this isn't the first one. I don't think she's going to get very far because it's a docudrama. You can take liberty with some of the story and some of the I lived it. I mean, I'm from Milwaukee, for those of you that do not know. I'm from Milwaukee. In 1991, I was living in Chicago at the time, but my brother, the oldest of my 3 brothers, I'm the oldest of 4. The oldest of my 3 brothers actually lived like a couple blocks away from Jeffrey Dahmer when all this was going down, because I'll never forget the call from my dad telling me. And they moved him out to the suburbs like immediately because my brother was very open and naive. And he was very welcoming to everyone. He really wanted to lead everyone to Christ. And he was baptizing young men in his bathtub and all sorts of things. Like, he was really very evangelistic. And so we were very concerned, of course, all of us were. So I don't know how far she's going to get. I don't feel like she really, that might sound cold, but I don't believe that she's going to have a right to sue them. And I'm actually on episode 6 or 7 right now. I'm not done with it yet. But to me, how they're dealing with the victims is humanizing them. And to me, the bigger thing, if anyone can take anything from this, what it reminded me of is how we were treated, how Black people were treated, how gay people were treated. I'm not gay, but but it wouldn't matter, right? How the LGBTQ community was treated back in the 90s, I'm sure all over, but I can just speak for Milwaukee and the Midwest. How we were treated, mistreated, disregarded by the police. There's never been one like this though made. There's never been one like this made. And I have seen most all of them. And honestly, this is what happens. I just don't think that I'm not belittling her pain or any of the victims' families' pain. I don't know. And then we're going to close this out. And Deshawn, come on for the next one that I have. But her brother, whatever she was related to, was killed. I understand that. She's going to live this for the rest of her life. That is the unfortunate thing. Anytime you are a victim or your family has been victimized in this manner, you're going to live it. She's not the first relative to have to deal with this. There's so many serial killers. So many. And a lot of them have docuseries made about them. I'm actually glad that this has been made, because to me, it shines a light on what we can never forget. What we can never forget, what we can never allow the establishment to forget, is that our voice is meaningful, and our people, our lives mean and matter something. They matter. They matter. And you don't get to just push us under the rug and just act like we don't exist simply because of either the color of our skin and or our sexuality, or both. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna we're gonna talk about this further. And Deshaun, I want you back, okay? And this is the last one because I really want to get into this subject about this case online. It's not, well, you know what? People are going to, let me tell you something. Okay, then that okay. We will have this discussion about this, because this is actually what I wanted to talk about. Deshaun, I want you back. We'll probably, like I said, I've got some stuff going on tomorrow night, but it'll probably be Tuesday night. We'll have this discussion in detail, okay, guys? Because this is a discussion we need to have. Sebastian, absolutely. Well, don't watch it at night. Or Sebastian, just wait till I talk about it. Hey, Simone. Hey, Red Violet. How are you? I thought I saw Simone. Hey, Simone. How are you? But I do want to talk about this. I really do. It is a very, very deep subject to discuss. Hey, sweets. My shorts have been giving you life. Oh, thank you, honey. And I'm going to be making some more tomorrow morning. Hey, Desire. How are you? So, Deshaun, please come back, because that is a conversation I think that we all need to have. We need to have the discussion about why are heterosexual men laughing at this. They shouldn't. Heterosexual people, period. I don't want to hear any heterosexual people laughing at this, thinking this is funny, this is cute. Oh, it's what they deserve. I don't want to hear any people that follow the good book to talk about that either, what they deserve. If he had just gone to church. I don't want that. It's disgusting. You'll come home at 5:30. Well, I don't know where you're at, but I won't be on till probably about 6:30 or 7 on that day. You're so cute. Let me go here. I could tell you what time I'll be on. Hold on. Analytics on Tuesday. Let's look at my Tuesdays. So according to YouTube, lots of you guys are on all night. All night long. Okay, so I'll probably come out about Tuesday at 7 p.m. my time, which is 8 p.m. Eastern. I might be on a little bit earlier, actually. We'll try. Oh, let me look at something else. Hold on, before I start telling stories. Before I start telling lies, tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies. Yeah, I could come on probably about 6:30 or so our time. So we'll come on a little bit earlier. All right? I promise. All right, I will send out word. I will create a live as soon as I'm done with this one, guys. Wow. See, y'all should have voted. Y'all should have voted. I would have talked about that tonight, but we'll do a special edition, okay? For me right now, it's 8:01. I'm in Central Time Zone. I will be on live on Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. You guys should be able to figure it out from there. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Okay? Okay. And Red Violet, I'm very sorry that you got played and there was no Hocus Pocus 2 party. I have not seen either one. All right. Let me do this. I'm going to play the intro one more time. And we're going to try to start the podcast. Sebastian, the vote was not statistically tied when I looked at it to make my thumbnail and make my live. The vote was not statistically tied. Okay, but everybody's, oh my good Lord Jesus, help us all. Mary and Joseph. Okay, here we go. This is what we're going to do because I can see this is getting to be a thing. Let me figure out here. I'm going to create a poll on YouTube. What do you want to talk about? No, I can't be running around here because I feel like y'all really want to talk about. Here, let's do this. I don't even have a thumbnail for this, guys. I don't even have a thumbnail for this. Okay. It's not that much controversy over a poll, Shiny. It's just that someone brought up the Dahmer thing, and Sebastian is a good buddy of mine that holds me accountable. So Sebastian's not saying anything. Put a black ribbon as a thumbnail. I can't with you. Tuesday, 6:30 p.m. Central, 7:30 p.m. Eastern. I'm going live. We are going to be talking about the Dahmer situation. That'll give me a chance to finish watching it, the rest of it. And then I'll be able to really give you the ins and outs of why. And that'll give me a chance to do some research on who's saying what, why. And they were mainly either gay or DL men. I mean, we just got to be honest. Okay. So we will have that conversation. I want to talk about tonight. Well, Deshaun, okay. Save all this for Tuesday night, Deshaun. Because that's definitely not no one better than I. At least I can tell you we are doing Mercury Retrograde, guys. And I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna say it with all the niceties that I possibly can. If I were to end up changing the subject tonight, though, it'd be fine. Okay? So it was definitely not, we didn't just not bat an eye. I can guarantee you, and I can go into great detail as to what was going on in the Midwest and in Milwaukee, in Wisconsin, like as a result of this man. Because it was scary and it was life-changing. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Guys, I'm going to do this so that when I edit, so I can upload this. I know where we're at. So bear with me. Act like you ain't seen me yet. Here we go.
Along, rise and shine. Come along and rise and shine. Come on and shine. Come along and ride on him. Like what could Johnny? Like what could Johnny? Yeah. Come along and ride on him. Like what could Johnny? Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Welcome back to the Sunday Soul Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Brewer. Some people call me the Oracle. I am a doctor of divinity and metaphysics. And we are going to talk about Mercury retrograde. We're going to talk about what's next afterwards. Today, at the time of this recording, it is October 2nd, 2022. Mercury is officially stationary direct, so Mercury retrograde is actually over officially. Now, what is Mercury retrograde? Some of you guys might not know. Mercury retrograde, or when any planet goes into what we call retrograde, that is an astronomical term. It used to be astrological because those of you who do not know, astrology was the first astronomy. It was a science and still honestly is. Anyway, it is when from the Earth's perspective, a planet appears to be moving backwards. From the Earth's perspective, a planet appears to be moving backwards. And that's typically when it's kind of like either it's caught up to us or the Earth is caught up to it. And so in the orbit, it looks like it's moving backwards. Why is that important in astrology? Astrology is a metaphysical science based on geometrical aspects, constellations, fixed stars, and planets, and luminary objects that the geometrical aspects of them and the energy of them, or what our perceived energy is of the particular planets, of the particular constellations, signs, fixed stars, and whatnot, the interaction and interplay with all of them, and how all that energy is bombarding Earth. Okay, so is it rather narcissistic? Yeah, a little bit, because it's like all about us, right? But from our perspective, what we feel. And retrogrades can mean a number of things. Retrogrades, a lot of people will simply say everything needs to cease in regard to whatever that planetary energy is. You can't make decisions. You shouldn't make decisions. You shouldn't do this. You shouldn't do that. Da 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 da. There's a lot of that. I will tend to say maybe hold off making final decisions. But I look at more than just one particular planet in retrograde. I look at the other planets in our solar system and what they're doing, and how they're interacting with one another, therefore how they're interacting with us. So retrograde, that's is astronomical, so a term in astrology, you can look that up. But for us energetically, it can mean a number of different things. Okay, it can mean a number of different things. South side, yes, I do. And if you go to my link tree, you can go to my website, and under private readings, you can book a reading with me. Okay. Hey, Queen Tulsa, how are you? Haven't seen you in a long time. Wonderful. All right. So Mercury retrograde is finally over. This was a particularly brutal Mercury retrograde. a particularly brutal Mercury retrograde. Let's go to Astro-Seek. And it was particularly brutal not because it was Mercury retrograde. It was particularly brutal because of all of the other planets that were in retrograde simultaneously. And the aspects that they were all making to one another. I'm literally copying the chart. Paste. And I'm going to tell you guys why this was super brutal. And we're not out of the woods yet, but we're getting out of the woods. We're just not out yet. Hey, Lady Roya, how are you? Throke sis, how you doing? Okay, let me share this with you. By the way, for those of you that some of you may or may not have known, I didn't put it everywhere. Gemini was missing last week. She booked it out of here Tuesday afternoon. We still don't know how. Here she is. I'm telling you because, okay, babe. Don't worry, honey. It's not going to hurt you. It's all the way over there. Yeah, she booked it out of here. We could not find her. Now, I never felt that she was in any danger, but she finally came back home, and she came back to, my son got her out of the garage rafters on Friday evening. It was and babe, she's always been the one. They're both three, her and Virgo, they're littermates, they're sisters. And she's always been the one that has wanted to like get outside, right? She's always trying to get outside. I think she was living her best Renaissance Beyonce, back outside. But you ain't really outside. So she wasn't really outside, but she thought she was outside. And so she got outside, baby. And I was like, oh my goodness. She has her claws and everything. She's really no worse for the wear. She didn't get dirty and she's fixed. So, she wanted to get her some. She could do it freely. It wasn't going to affect her none. You know what I'm saying? She wasn't going to get prickers. So, and that sounds cold, but I mean, it's just, you got to think about these things. So anyway, so she's back. And so I'm not like rushing her. She's sleeping. Yeah, she is sleeping. Today she was up a little bit more. Yeah. Wait, Nessie, you can get put down. But her first evening back, her and her sister fought terribly. They were like Virgo was cussing her out. Anyway. Yeah, no, she's not. She ain't preggers. She can't she's fixed. They were fixed as kittens. So, I'm so glad your kitty's back. My God, today. That's crazy. It's when we're cat moms. Anywhosenheimer. Okay, guys. Sorry about that. I had to, some of you knew and some of you didn't. So I wanted to let you guys know. For those that did know. I was beside myself. Okay. Let's talk about Mercury retrograde. Let me move Isis out of the way. Okay, here's good old Mercury. It's good old Mercury. She's still going to be red. She's the one that was in retrograde and she just went stationary direct. Very interestingly enough, she is in opposition to Neptune in retrograde when she stopped. Thank God. While Mercury was in retrograde, guys, Uranus went into retrograde. Chiron went into retrograde. Jupiter was in retrograde. Neptune was in retrograde. Saturn was in retrograde. And Pluto was in retrograde. What does that mean? Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, Jupiter, Uranus are what we call the big boys. They are the planets that more so govern the world, the collective, big things in your life. They govern foundations. They govern rulership, jobs, dreams, aspirations, gifts, rebellion, the need to be free, the desire for autonomy, the desire for someone to see and hear you and be tired of the matrix and how the establishment will they stop you from doing all of those things. Like that's what all, like literally your money, anything that could have been affected by a retrograde in general was on a global scale. So when I say this whole thing, like everybody was talking about Mercury retrograde and how epic and stuff it was, right? It was set up to be. But I really, hey, I love you, but I'm a little busy. Okay? Thank you. But I feel like they were giving Mercury a little bit, oops. Oh my. Okay, undo. They were giving Mercury a little bit too much clout. Because it wasn't Mercury doing all those things. And I'm going to take them bit by bit. Neptune in retrograde in Pisces, very much religious beliefs, very much what we put our faith in. Pisces, in the age of Pisces, we were looking for saviors. It was the age of the savior. Very much what we deluded ourselves to believing, and some people are still choosing to delude themselves into believing. Very much when we doubted ourselves, doubted whether or not we could accomplish that great big thing that we were meant to accomplish or that we want to, that we dream of, right? This is why I've been doing a lot of shorts about get back onto your dreams. Like, don't let anybody tell you that you're not enough. Don't let anybody tell you you can't do it. Don't let anybody stop you. Stop letting people tell you, well, you're going too fast. You can't possibly. If I hear one mom tell me I can't do something when I want to do it, I'm going to lose my ish. Stop. Don't tell me that. I don't want to hear that anymore. That's a personal rant. I apologize. Gemini was stressed about Mercury retrograde. Y'all go stop playing. Yeah, we're going to get to that, Melinda. You're still in my thunder. You want to come up here? Because you're still in my thunder. From Facebook. Hey, Andrea, how often does that happen? Mercury goes into retrograde 3 times a year. Mercury goes into retrograde 3 times a year. How often do we have retrograde palooza like we just had? Usually about twice. Usually about twice a year, we have retrograde palooza. But they're in different signs all the time. Not all the time, but a lot of them are in different signs, so it doesn't have the same effect. Doesn't have the same effect. Well, so anyway, the reason why this one though was so incredibly potent, and I'm going to go bit by bit, planet by planet. So here you go, right? Neptune problems. Now, I will say this, because Mercury is now stationary direct for the next day or so, and it's going to be in opposition, which means it's shining a light on all the tomfoolery and effery that Neptune like illuminated for us. I would look at this. Anyone that you've been in relationship with recently, that over this past 2-3 weeks, like from the second week of September-ish, first week, about the second week of September, all the way through today, Pay attention to what they've shown you. So if you have people that honestly aren't supporting you in your dream and not supporting your vision, one way or the other. In other words, sometimes people can say they support your vision, but their actions show you differently. Sometimes people can say they're supporting your vision, but they're not supporting it in the way that you truly need. They're supporting it in the way they think that they should support it. And sometimes people are smiling in your damn face and stabbing you in your damn back. For those of you listening to me on, Spotify and whatnot and all the streaming platforms, yeah, this is going to be a cursing one this time. I'm going to drop a couple of curse words. So if your ears are sensitive and you can't handle the curse words, I don't know what to tell you. I'll try to bleep them out. Anyway, but they're smiling in your face. What is it? The OJ sang it? Backstabbers. Go listen to the song. Okay? Anybody like that, I don't care who they are. They could be your mother, they could be your father, they could be your brother, your sister, your lover, your wife, your husband, your teacher, your partner, your team member, your friend. I don't care who it is. If you have peeped, if you have seen that's what they're doing, then now that we have Mercury going stationary direct, you need to act on it. You need to handle it. You need to take care of it. And the reason why I'm going to tell you specifically you need to take care of it is because we have all of this is happening under a Libra sun, with a hold on a second, with Venus back home. So Venus on today's date, October the 2nd, 2022, is already conjunct. It's applying, which means it's heading towards the sun. It's applying conjunct to the sun. So what you know to be true, what you believe and know to be true in your heart of hearts, what your divine feminine intuitive side of you is telling you is the truth, is telling you to follow what you love, is telling you to go for it, is telling you to love yourself and believe in yourself, is telling you to bring things into balance and stop having people around you that have brought you out of balance, and get rid of those relationships because they're not doing you any good. So Venus is going to be adding that loving, kind, gentle, yet strong, motherly, tough love that says, baby, I'm tired of seeing you being used, abused, mistaken, then cast aside like a used up towel. I'm tired of you giving more than you receive. The Bible verse, isn't it in Proverbs, it is more blessed to give than receive? You can miss me with that. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that people have used that verse to guilt people into giving. To guilt people into giving out of their pockets and out of their bank accounts till they have no more. So that people will, oh, I couldn't take that. Oh, I couldn't charge. Oh, I couldn't this. Oh, I couldn't that. Oh, it's okay because it's better to give than receive. No, everything must be in balance. Now, you can sow the seed. I enjoy sowing the seed. But you're also supposed to reap the harvest when you put your hand to the plow. I love you too, pumpkin. Now, let's keep moving. I'm not going to be here all night with y'all. I love y'all. That's Neptune. Jupiter in Aries in retrograde. Jupiter had gone into Aries in retrograde a while ago. Mercury never got quite back far enough to really interact with that directly. Well, it kind of did, because it would have right here at the beginning of Libra, it would have been in opposition to Jupiter. So that would have been a few days ago, like maybe mid last week, mid to early last week. So this would have been another dream dasher, but this would have been the time for that you would have really been questioning yourself, like, oh my gosh, babe, don't. Am I really doing the right thing? Is this really what I meant to do? Am I crazy, deranged? It also could have been the time where people that you've given a lot to, maybe they misunderstood you. In fact, this whole time, these whole last 3 weeks, I'm gonna look in the chat, but I want y'all to tell me how many of y'all really had a lot of issues going on with relationships, interpersonal relationships. How many of y'all had problems with interpersonal relationships of any kind that could be working? Put a 1 in the chat. A 1 in the chat if you had problems with your interpersonal relationships, work, love life, family, friends. Put a 2 in the chat if you're like, Lisa, you're just all wet. I ain't had no problems. I don't know what you talking about, lady. Oh, good. See, I see a lot of ones. Hey, Lauren, how you doing, honey? Hey, Jennifer, Jean Paul, how are you? Yeah. So we had a lot. Hey, Amber, you're autistic. That's beautiful. I feel like your autistic minds are beautiful. They work in a different way. Andrea said she didn't, just 1. Okay. She came early September and left last week, but you still had a little interpersonal, but that's okay. I'm doing well, honey. Okay, Adrian. Hey, Adrian, how are you? My name is Lisa Jennifer. You could just call me Lisa. I'm going to change my name. So, a lot of us had the interpersonal relationships. So we're going to see in each of these planets why that was. Mercury, guys, there are personal planets. I'll give you a real quick astrological breakdown. The astrology of it all. The personal planets, your personal planets, are Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the moon. Technically, and the sun. Yes, that's right. Those are your personal planets. Those are the planets that rule the force, and the sun, technically. The bottom 6 houses. So let me show you guys, which are your personal houses. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, and Virgo are your personal signs. The first 6 houses are personal houses. The first house, Aries, is kind of like, it's all about you. It's like your ego, right? It can be very impetuous and whatnot. Taurus is so Aries mantra is I am. Taurus is I have. So your personal possessions, how you make your money personally, all that kind of stuff. Your family, personal, everything personal, what you possess. Gemini is I think. Okay. Cancer is I feel. What is Leo? I think Leo is I love. Something like that. I can't believe that. Virgo is all about health. Like Leo's about creativity and about family and all that kind of, and loyalty. Virgo is all about personal health. So those are your personal houses, the first 6 houses, the first 6 signs. Mars rules Aries. Venus rules Taurus. Mercury rules Gemini. The moon rules Cancer. my God, the sun rules Leo and Mercury rules Virgo. So Mercury is a very, very, very personal planet. It rules two of the personal signs, aka houses as well. So how you think and then how it was affecting your health, your plans, how you're feeling about self, all sorts of things was on center stage for this last 3 weeks. More so than normal, because it's not that normal that Mercury goes into retrograde while everybody else is in retrograde. That's not necessarily normal. And usually we're closer to one of the bigger planets coming out of retrograde than we were. So this is really rough. This was a rough one, not gonna lie. So let's get back to it. Jupiter. So plans, gifts. So it may have seemed like people were giving you gifts and then all of a sudden they're like taking it back, or it wasn't as good as you thought it was going to be, or some of the plans or whatever seemed to be on slowdown, or like I said, you thought somebody was supporting you, but it turns out that they really weren't. It was a Trojan horse. Or you thought they was going to be in your corner, or you didn't think they was going to steal it from you or take your idea, whatever the case may be. But you realized it, didn't you? Saturn being in retrograde in Aquarius, that had a lot to do with government shakeup. During this time period, we saw the Queen Elizabeth die. We now have King Charles III. For now. We've seen, if you're paying attention, we've seen various information come out from like unsealed documentation from governmental agencies. We've seen a lot of changes in other governments. I mean, I don't know if y'all have been paying attention. Like Italy has a new prime minister. Great Britain had just got a new prime minister, a woman. Italy has a female prime minister now. There's big ruckus and issues going on in France. There's a lot of problems going on in Germany. We're hearing about whole cabinets and parliaments and things walking out in various locations all around the world. When I went to go get my hair braided, the woman that does my hair, young woman, she's from Gambia. She's talking about how there's political unrest in Gambia. One of the other ladies is from Mali. She said there's a lot going on in Mali as well. There's a lot of unrest everywhere. We're hearing potentially about, the United States' alleged involvement in foreign affairs again that we didn't got no business putting our nose into. We're seeing different things happening in, and the Marjorie Taylor Greene chick just got caught cheating, child. Child, a mess. Like there's all kinds of scandals coming out. But I told y'all during Mercury Retrograde, we're going to see a lot of, them kind of scandals coming out. What else was going on? All the hullabaloo going on in the church realm. It's crazy to me. We're seeing rampant narcissism and we're seeing, people's real agendas being shown and portrayed. It's a monkey mess. And no, honey, stop, please. It's a mess. Okay, well then you need to lay down. Come on. Lay down then. You cannot stay. Then lay down. I'm not going to pet you. Come on, stop playing. Come on. Stop. Don't fight. She's not sought to be up here all day. All day. All day. But she knows I told her I wasn't going to lock her out. See, I shouldn't have said that. Okay. Move. Then move. Anyway. I think if you're paying attention, you've also heard a lot of different changes in laws. And the changes in the currency are going to be a little bit more in the Plutonian area in Capricorn. Pluto being in retrograde, pretty much dancing over the Pluto return for the United States as a country. But what we're finding out also with this Saturn in retrograde in Aquarius, I feel like a lot of us are really discovering what our true rights and privileges are as an individual, and how the collective governmental agencies or religious organizations should have been dealing with that. What's been hidden from us, what rights and privileges we truly do have, then, and how we've given away that power. This is what that Saturn in retrograde, and Saturn's about to come out of retrograde, I think on the 22nd of October. I'll look that up really quick. So it's coming out, and we've really had an opportunity to look at some things. Even I will tell you this, like some of the things and changes that they've made or they're making, like even on YouTube with the partner program and how creators are paid and how that's going to change next year. Even what I believe is really the beginning of the end for Twitter lately, especially with this whole bot sentinel, this bot sentinel Nate the lawyer kerfuffle that's happening and about to happen in the courts. Because we're seeing that there's no possible way that they could have been telling the truth to Elon Musk about their percentage of bots. And how many bots just were generally used. Like, there's no way. That even came out on the freaking Housewives of Beverly Hills. Who would have thunk that the Housewives of Beverly Hills could have put a spotlight onto something that could end up being a major to-do, a major thing in the tech world? Instagram's dying. Facebook won't be too far after. We found out during this time period also that Facebook was being basically told by the government what they could and could not, or very much encouraged on what they should and should not allow on the platforms. We knew it. Like, some of us knew it. But they confirmed it. So, I mean, help me understand this. Like, help me comprehend, guys, how we should really be feeling about this. So a lot of these things are being exposed because we need to see them, because we need to know, because we need to know on a global level, we need to rethink the structure and how it applies to us, Jupiter in Aries. And then, of course, you have Chiron in Aries up here in retrograde. And that's the wounded healer. So if you've ever felt disenfranchised, disregarded, left out, right? If you ever felt any of that, or whatever wounds really hits you hard, really gets you in the gut, those wounds were on mass display these last 3 weeks. And they were on display not so you would continue to be injured by them, but so that you could go on and finally heal them. Push for protecting women. Absolutely. I don't know which one of them going to prison. Sebastian might be able to tell us. In Iran, a girl was, wow. Yes, I heard about that. And now the women are like losing it. The women have uprise. They're burning their scars. The women is not playing. We're finding out who Lilith really was. And he is. Hey, Nico, how you doing, baby? What else are we finding out? We're finding, oh, Lord, am I ready to do this one here? Well, we here now. You know, if you really start digging into the meaning of a lot of what has been purported to be the truth, you're going to start questioning which God has been put to us as the true God. And if the God that's been put to us as the true God is really the true God, or have we been fed a lie? Now, I have nothing to worry about, because let me tell you something. The creator that I love, the creator that I am a part of, the creator that I am a party to, the creator that I am an aspect of, that essence is love. It's of the highest vibrational frequency. But a lot of us have been asking certain things like, and asking it during a Mercury retrograde isn't a bad thing, because it gives us a pause to examine. But I've seen a greater proliferation of, if this is a truly loving God in all ways, why the petty? Why the petty? Why the jealousy? Because let me tell you something. When you are truly in love with someone, or when you are truly operating in love on a higher vibration, on actual frequency, you're not easily made jealous of anything. You're not easily swayed. You're not easily offended. You're not easily like, you better stop doing that and stop talking to them, because you know what I'm saying? Like, that's so childish. It just sounds like, oh, okay, so you gonna talk to them, huh? Well, you can't sit at my table. You can't talk to me. You can't be friends with them if you're gonna be friends with me. Matter of fact, I'm gonna need you to eradicate them and their whole family, because I don't like how they looked at me the other day. I don't like what they said. And the crazy thing is, a lot of these quote unquote deities that were supposedly so horrific were precursors to this monotheist system. They just explains various aspects of God in different ways. When in actuality, for it to be a monotheistic system, there's 13 different names, right? Why is it monotheistic? Why? Why you need so many different names when it's just one God? Because God's too big for us to just one name. Well, that's why they broke it up into other gods, fool. I digress, y'all. I done got off the whole subject. Why the fear? Why the persecution? Why all of it? Why all of it? Why eradicate an entire race of people, their women and their children too? Why are we taught to serve a narcissistic God? Well, now some of y'all might not be ready to hear that, but it is what it is. I want you to think about it, because I'm not saying, so I want you to hear it. Don't get in your feelings. Don't get offended here. Because the two things, the math ain't mathin'. This is what Mercury retrograde and all the planets going in retrograde at the same time. This is what this will do. This will make you question everything and say, wait a minute, hold up, wait a minute, right? That's what it'll do. I got to question everything. I can't just not, this doesn't make any sense to me. So God is love. And I understand that love is a higher, like God is like, whoo-hoo, what, right, way out there. So far in the ethers and so at such a high dimensional level, we can't comprehend it with our third dimensional minds. It doesn't compute. All knowing, all seeing, omnipotent, omniscient, omnipotent, omnipresent, knew me before I was born and will know me after, was here before all the things on the earth and the worlds were made, and will be here long after. 1,000 years is as a day, and a day is as 1,000 years. All that. And yet, his commandment to his supposed people was to go conquer lands, and when you conquered them, kill everybody. Unless they were kind of okay, and I guess they women look good because they were like, now you can keep the women. How convenient. This is the same God that killed the firstborn in revenge of the Egyptian people to free his own. Like, if you just wanted Pharaoh to say, I'm going to let you go, same one. Same one that didn't want you to build the Tower of Babel so high that you would reach the heavens and become as gods. So confounded the earth with different languages so we could not communicate, and then therefore not be able to do what? Love one another and work together. And then at some point, everyone was so horrible that had to wipe everybody except for Noah, his children's animals, like 2 by 2, if you believe, oh boy, wow. Anyway, right? Confused. I'm confused. But this is the same God that's of love. The math ain't mathing for me, y'all. The math is not mathing. So why am I even bringing all this up? Because if we're coming into this age of gnosis, if we're coming into the age of Aquarius and of truly knowing not only ourselves, but evolutionary, then knowing ourselves and knowing everything. This Mercury retrograde, all the things that happened at each step of the way were happened so that they could show us another chink in the armor, another glitch in the matrix, and hopefully get us to stop and think and consider, is this true? And search within ourselves to find truth and balance. Truth, real truth. To me, that's something else Venetian energy stands for, is this raw truth. See, women, we can, let me talk for y'all. Let me talk to y'all for a minute. Women have this innate capability of bearing and holding a truth within ourselves. And we will hold this truth until it is time for us to really let out. We will sit here and we'll weigh the truth. And we'll weigh the options and the possible outcomes. If I tell this truth now, what's going to happen? Are they prepared to hear this truth? How can I present this in a way that they're going to be able to be heard? See, a masculine energy was just blurted out. But one of the blessings of this retrograde and how it all happened, and one of the blessings of the fact that it's happening during Libra, during Lady Justice, during this very feminine yet very strong, because really the feminine energy is the strongest of the two. This very creatrix energy, this very energy of it's time to balance the scales and bring justice. It's time. So if I look at every one of these planets, if I look at every one, we did Saturn. Let's go to Pluto. We did Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter, Chiron. Chiron's technically personal, but y'all forgive me for that. Let's talk about this one, Pluto. Pluto is the planet of what? Change. Pluto, personal change. It rules Scorpio. Pluto is also the planet of what? The underworld, as well as Neptune. Pluto is also the planet of what? Real estate, contracts, using other people's resources. Mars, right? So Taurus, so Pluto rules Scorpio. I'm gonna give you a little lesson. Rules Scorpio. Scorpio is the opposing sign to Taurus. Scorpio is other people's resources. Taurus is I have my own resources. Now, I'm not saying Scorpios use people. I'm just saying that's what okay, I ain't saying nothing. So don't get your panties in a bunch. Don't bring them stingers out. I ain't trying to hear it. Other people's resources, contracts, deals. It is also death, but then life. It is resurrection. It is all those things, adult, sensual, sexual. Those dirty little secrets. Those proclivities, those fetishes, those things that one doesn't speak of. Pluto, all of that, baby. All of that. So anytime it goes into retrograde, I'm already like, ooh, child, whose dirty laundry is coming out now? Because somebody's tomfoolery and effery is coming out. And ain't nobody going to be able to stop it. It's meant to come on out. And somebody going to go down. And somebody going to rise from the ashes like a phoenix, child. What's going to happen? Now, because that has been dancing all over the Pluto return for the United States of America. You know, the U.S. was not necessarily born during the daytime. There was a lot of things that were going on behind the scenes. We just got to be honest, y'all. If we're going to really do this, we got to be honest. There was a lot of bad things underneath the surface that we choose to ignore happened. Or at the time, they did not think it was important. And they thought they were right and righteous for doing it. But that seems to be a typical thought pattern. Anyway, my point to the matter is this. It can rule economies, contracts, again, right? All these structures. Capricorn is already structured government, mores, morals, you know, social ways we do things, social constructs, religions, all sorts of things. So basically what's happening is the very religious, quote unquote, structure this was built on, the monetary structure, the using other people's resources, aka the indigenous people here, aka other resources brought with them. You know what I'm saying? All that is coming to roost now. All that is coming. And all the side plans and the undercover plans that people have had, where they really were serving their own best interest at the expense of others, of us, that's all coming to light. So you're seeing all the dirty deals. If you're paying attention, let me tell you something. If you don't look at specific news outlets or news channels simply because you think that they are in complete disagreement with yours, you're doing yourself a grave disservice. You're doing yourself a grave disservice. Cut it out. You have to get out of your echo chamber and start listening to other sources of news and information. Start seeking out people that maybe you were like, ooh, them people with red and white hats. I can't listen to nobody that wore a red and white hat. You might learn something. I listen to the other side. I do, because I want to hear how people are thinking. And sometimes I learn something. Most of the time what happens is I'm like, oh my gosh, this is what they're putting out here and people are believing this. So anyway, all of that's coming out, right? With that. Uranus in retrograde in Taurus. Uranus is going to be in Taurus for a hot minute. It's going to be there for a long hot minute. It's been doodling and dancing around for a while. Now, what did that signify for us? How you earn your money. We've been talking about this. Uranus and Taurus, period. How we're earning our money, what we value, how we value our possessions, what other people place, like how we want to protect it, how we want to protect our very lives and livelihood and our autonomy and our fight to have that. This Mercury retrograde was just like, we're not taking it anymore. We're done. We're done. So hopefully during this entire time, you saw how people were screwing with your autonomy. There's a couple things I also want to talk about. A lot of us probably wanted to end some relationships. And people would have told you during Mercury retrograde, not to do it, or maybe you felt like you just couldn't do it. But now that Mercury is direct, stationary direct, will be going direct. Now that you've had a time to reflect, rethink, slow down, it's time for you to be a person of action. If it ain't been right, if it hasn't helped you, if you haven't grown, or if you've grown as far as you're going to grow, then it's time for you to let it go. You gotta. And it's time for you to do you. It's time for you to stand on your own too. It's time for you to say, I am the most important person in my life. And not in a narcissistic way. But your feelings, wants, needs, and desires, and your purpose matters as much, if not more. Matter of fact, your purpose matters more to you. My purpose matters more to me than anybody else's purpose. My purpose happens to be helping other people fulfill their purpose. But that doesn't mean that I put my purpose above anybody else's. I mean, below anybody else's. I take advice. I allow myself to be held accountable to people. Very few, but to people. because you can't do it alone. But these last 3 weeks, when I tell you they showed me, they put on display, baby. On display, my friend. On display. What people were really about, what relationships were really meaningful, or not just meaningful, that they were adding, not taking away. They put on display how I needed to restructure. I will tell you, my personal relationship, though, has never been better. I think for him, it showed him just how important I am to him. And I will say that's vice versa as well. Instead of ending it, I feel like we've, grown. But I needed to see some things. And I did. And so I hope that what's next after all this, I actually want to, I want to show you something. And then I'm going to end this, and then I'm going to, so I'll play the exit music, but I'll stay on for a little bit and we can chat. Okay. Not for forever. I'm going to show you guys this, the Tower card here. Always in the Tower card, you'll see some people. You'll see the Tower. It is said that this is meant to be the Tower of London, which historically has represented so much. It was a place where, people were held captive and so on and so forth, and prisoners and such, political prisoners. So some people say that this is really the Tower of London. But I also always look at it as, this is what have you made that is made a monument in your life? What have you made an unstoppable or unmovable object that represents all, power? What have you given your power over to? What have you set up as a deity in your life? A structure that you feel you cannot live without. And then it all goes to, what, in a handbasket, goes to hell in a handbasket, and the ground shakes and becomes molten, and the tower quakes and it's on fire. And there's people jumping out, but they're on fire. Now, what are they trying to escape? Are they trying to escape impending doom? Shouldn't they have gotten out faster? Sometimes you'll see someone, which represents the fool, because this is the fool's journey, running away from this, edifice, and they, they're escaping with their lives. But to me, it always represents that whatever needs to be destroyed will be. That you can't avoid the destruction of things that don't serve you. And if you do, what will happen is you'll be harmed in the process. What will happen is you will be harmed in the process. You can either go down with the ship, or you can get up off of it and get yourself to safety. So this Mercury retrograde, to me, was enough. There was more than enough warning signs. There was more than enough information. There was more than enough everything presented before you for you to be able to make good, solid decisions now, as Mercury is going direct. Now, Mars is following straight behind. Let's see, when does Mars go into retrograde? Mars, I should know this, retrograde 2022. Yep, here we go. Mars retrograde starts October 30th. So right before Halloween. It goes into retrograde on October 30th, and it's going to be in retrograde all the way until January 12th of 2023. So Mars is going to stay in Gemini for almost 6 months because it's going to retrograde for this long. And that's 4 times longer, 3 to 4 times longer. Oh, 8 months, excuse me. So that's 4 times longer than it typically stays in Gemini, which is usually about 2 months. So Mars sitting there, that was the only other thing I didn't go over. We did not talk about Mars in Gemini. This bad boy here, this bad boy here, Mars in Gemini. Mars will be in Gemini for 8 months. Almost half of that in retrograde. If there is any one planetary aspect or motion, transit, excuse me, that I think is undervalued and underdiscussed, it is Mars in Gemini this long. Because that is a very aggressive energy. Mars rules Aries, used to also rule Scorpio. So I want you to put some Scorpio energy and some Aries energy together. Cardinal and fixed. And throw it over into some mutable air. You want to talk about changing on a dime, passive aggressive, aggressive, not taking it no more, not handling, not like you're not playing with me anymore. You're not playing in my face anymore. You're not playing in my face. You're not telling me it's raining while you're pissing on my leg. You're not doing that. We're not playing this anymore. This is this refusal to think the same. So if you've been just like literally going, this ain't right, I know it ain't right, and I'm tired of it not being right. And you just got to change the game. That's why. That's why. That's that Mars and Gemini. And where maybe you were double-minded and maybe you didn't feel like for sure that you're like, man, I don't know what I should do. Mars and Gemini is saying, do it. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Do it. That's what's happening. So pay attention to that Mars. That's going to be child, that is going to be something else, because it's going to go into retrograde while it's trining or in the same element as Saturn in retrograde. So Saturn's going to come out of retrograde, continue on its merry way, while Mars is in retrograde. So once Saturn gets done like sufficiently shaking the governmental structures, Mars is going to come and be like, boom, and I told you start playing with me. That's going to be very interesting for the midterm elections because Mars will be in full retrograde, and it should still be, it might be just out of exact trine. It'll be close. It'll be close. It'll end up trining the sun at some point in Libra. Well, it might be out of Libra by the time it does that. At any rate, the midterm elections are going to be very interesting. I'm not ready yet for my predictions. I'm going to continue to look at the charts for that. But I could tell you, expect there to be a lot of problems leading up to that. Mars in Gemini is very warlike energy. This is why we're seeing a lot of saber rattling, as they say, a lot of the government, blah, 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 and a lot of other stuff, da, 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 and a blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. Lauren says she's already fed up. You're at your fed up point. You can't, it's going to get worse, Lauren. So I would expect the unexpected, but I would expect in November that people will vote according to how fed up they are. But I'm also very concerned that there could be another conflict that kicks off in October. If I had to guess about an October surprise, corruption, and potentially very Plutonian. Voting is a necessity, but we got to be open and honest with ourselves before we go into that booth. Because these are more important. Actually, this vote, this is going to be much more important than the presidential election, because the Congress has much more power. A lot of us are voting on governors, state senators, state legislatures, local legislatures. This is a very, like always, the midterm elections tend to not be very well attended. I'm just going to ask that you do attend. I'm going to ask that you are realistic about the state that you are in right now, economically, mentally, emotionally, physically. And when you're thinking in the 3D, I want you to be really, really real about how you got to this place, how this country got there. And then vote accordingly, how your local area got there. Vote according to who really, like, make sure you know what everyone stands for. Make sure you know what their plans are. Make sure you know the platform, all the points. Email them, especially your local people. They'll answer you. Email them, write them. Find out what they're really about. And if there's an incumbent, then go back and look at that record. Like, let's say for your local, let's say it's a district attorney that's up. I don't know. Maybe somebody's district attorney is up for election. Go look. Look what his or her office, look what they prosecuted. Look at how many cases did not get prosecuted. Look at how many cases, like what kind of recommendations did they make for the offense. Like, really dig into these things. You gotta know. You gotta know. And we cannot just vote one way because it's the way we think everybody in our family has, or whatever, or what the media tells us. How, I don't care who you are. You gotta know the policies. And you guys gotta know the people that are in office right now, what they've been up to. Really honestly take the time to find out the truth about some of these bills they've been trying to pass. And the ones they can't pass, then there's executive orders. We will be talking about those executive orders that are the one that's supposed to be going into play on December the 13th, I think it is. Digital money. The Federal Reserve, running the whole show. Your money not being your money anymore. it's worse than women's suffrage because now it's everybody. And you guys make sure that your vote actually counts. You guys make sure your vote is counted. I don't care who you vote for. You make sure that it's counted, even if that means, like, I've seriously been thinking about volunteering to help count votes so that at least I can be sure that in my area, every vote is actually counted. Every legal vote is actually counted. Oh boy, school loan debt forgiveness. They made, I think he had to do an executive order for that too, didn't he? I don't remember. I'm really torn by that one. That's tough. Yes, I will look up the number of that particular executive order, but you can Google it. Executive order for Biden digital currency, December 13th. I'm not sure what's a good idea, but we do not want I personally do not want the Federal Reserve taking over and telling me where I can and can't spend my money. Because anytime the government takes anything over, it ain't good. It was illegal how he proceeded with loan forgiveness because again, Mercury retrograde. Now that Mercury is direct and we've seen all the tomfoolery, I want you to take that in your own personal life and take it in the global context. And I want you to apply it correctly. Whatever relationships should no longer be there, get rid of them. And if the relationship needs to change with the matrix and with the government or with the governmental agencies or anything that I'm saying this very carefully. If how you view how things are running and have been definitely over the last couple of years, just take a good hard look at it and make sure that it is still benefiting you. A lot of us are waking up and we're extricating ourselves as much as possible, right? Creating our own businesses and all sorts of things. Remove yourself from the matrix if you can, as much as possible. Now, that's going to be the conclusion of the Sunday Soul podcast. I want you all to know that in those of you listening or the replay crew from when we post this, what I want you to know is we are having another Lightworker Liftoff. That is going to be October the 11th through the 13th. So the 11th and 12th is Lightworker Liftoff. VIP Day is the 13th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time or Eastern Time. Register at lightworkerliftoff.com to reserve your seat. There is a link in the link tree. The link is down below as well to the link tree. This time, so regularly and from here forward, Lightworker Liftoff is going to be $97 for the regular admission, $197 for the VIP. However, because we're just bringing it back this time, I'm taking $50 off either admission. So $47 for regular admission, $147 for VIP. Okay. And when you go to the website, you can see all that you get for either. And I'll be creating some more information on that later. All right, guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. What is next, guys? Clean the closet. Get rid of all of the relationships that are no longer serving you. Do it gently and nicely, of course, as nicely as you can. And double down on the ones that have swooped in and have shown themselves to be amazing. Whether they were already there or they're brand new. Double down on it. Don't look back. Only go forward. All right. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you so much. Namaste. And some of you all, stay here if you want to chat for a little bit longer. All right? Wait till this is over. Bye-bye. Okay, here we go. Here's the link. I will hang out here for a little while longer, so y'all can come talk to me for a little bit. Y'all can join the stream right there. I'm feeling like somebody's texting me. Join the stream right there. Oh, and by the way, anybody that, if you want to book a reading with me, don't book the 30-minute consultation. Those are meant for those that want to join Lightworker Academy, just so you know, okay? See, look, Brazil's election has resulted in a runoff on Lightworker Academy, just so you know, okay? Hey, sweetheart.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. How are you?
It's been a wild ride this last month. Oh my God, I'm glad it's over and it's supposed to calm down, and I'm trying to get used to that.
Mm-hmm. It has been a wild ride.
Yeah. First, I lost a cat, and then I got sick after that, and it was so bad. And then I fixed my car finally. Got sick again with strep. Never had strep in my life.
I have. Oh no.
It is worse. I mean, for me, I think it's worse than, the Rona, whatever you want to call it.
Wow, for real?
It was
I
so
guess
bad.
so, because you can't smell. Because you can't swallow. It hurts so bad.
No, my tonsils were so big, I couldn't get anything through. I lost 10 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then my car is broken again now. I got trying to fix it again. So I haven't been able to go to work because I'm sick. I've been sick, and now I can't go to work because the car's broken, and I'm waiting for a part to come in. It's been a wild ride. I need a break.
Oh God. Well, I think it's coming. It's coming.
I
There
hope
is a
so.
break. Oh my gosh. So Lauren says she's gonna get it now because she gets it every year. No, Lauren, you're not getting it anymore. You're not getting it this year. No more strap for Lauren.
I don't
No
know.
more strap.
Every person I've talked to, they've told me it's been going around, and
yeah, it's crazy. Hello, Andrea. How are you? Welcome to the stream.
I'm great. Hi. It was so great. I enjoyed it so much.
Good, good, good. Well, ladies, what do we want to talk about tonight? Because I got to get up early tomorrow, child. Not as early as Melissa, but I got to get up early.
what are you talking
30, but
about?
but my early is not as early as y'all's because I'm on the West Coast. So I'm in the future.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right. Yeah. We'll have to get up at 7 o'clock here.
You said so many great things. So you said so many great things. We'll have a list for you that you could elaborate on. A lot of things you said. I really enjoyed the retrograde timeline according to the different astrological signs. I'm Capricorn and I'm a Scorpio. And I love this time of year. And I really was really reading the past 3 weeks and everything that I've been seeing, conversations I've had. I told you about that already. But so everything you were saying, I just was like, okay, yeah, boom, makes sense now. Yes, absolutely. But it also kind of made me, I already cleaned house.
Yeah, you were a little quick on it. You were quick on the draw. Yeah. Yeah. But that's Capricorn. Y'all clean stuff up quick. My daughter in heart is a Capricorn. And so it's just when she says that, oh, we're cleaning. Okay. So I know everything's literally, it's purge, it's clean, it's the whole thing. It's done. Organized. Nothing. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I kind of felt like I was like kind of cleaning house and getting my life back in order as soon, after this illness got over. And it was before the end of Mercury retrograde, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a weird feeling because I feel like I'm finally putting things back in order that were out of order for months now. I do feel like I have I feel kind of rejuvenated to just continue building up on myself. And feel like now I'm not even like looking at dating or anything. Like I haven't even been on my dating app. I'm just focusing on what I want to do with myself.
Absolutely.
I can get my big old face out of the camera. Hold on, then I can see y'all.
Oh, did you want to ask some questions, Andrea? I'm going to address
these names so I can be polite and say hi. I still can't see. Wow. So
let me address the doing you aspect of Mercury retrograde. I think this Mercury retrograde especially was very much a doing you. Because it happened all in pretty much, I mean, it started in Libra a little bit, but the majority of it went all the way back into Virgo, pretty deep for retrograde. And because of that, we really did focus on like personal health. And I think all areas, mental health, physical and emotional, and what really is making us happy and how people were either helping that cause or hurting that cause. And what do we really want out of life? And are the plans, have we been following our kind of plan? And maybe were those plans even ours? Or were they given to us by our parents or society or whomever else? And they really weren't ours to begin with. So maybe we need to scrap the whole darn thing and just start all over. So it was a very much an empowering retrograde, I think. I think a lot of people, when they were looking at all the, bad things that were happening, and they were very focused on that. But if you really paid attention, I think if you really took it on the positive side, it was very empowering. At least I feel so, because I learned so much about myself and I learned so much about other people, and realized that some people I thought that I really needed, I don't. Now, that's not that good for those people, but can't help it. I'm sorry. Not. Like, no. So I'll be still in the purge. I'll still be in the purge. But it was a very empowering one. Hey, Samantha, you've been feeling flat and distant lately, hoping it'll pass soon. I think a lot of us have been feeling that way. Like, kind of, I know a lot of even people that I've been talking to, like we'll be on like meetings or whatever, and they'll be like, "Are you okay?" And at first I kind of blamed that out. Oh, well, Gemini is missing, or, oh, well, this is happening, or this. But when you're not so giving of yourself and your energy, and you kind of put that boundary back there, and you're like, it feels distant to people because they're very used to you being so open with it. So I welcome it. Hey, Dada, how are you, lovey? So, Melissa, I'm glad you're doing you.
Yeah, I was kind of expecting someone to come back, and I'm really glad he didn't, at least not at this time, because it was not a good time. And and I think there's a reason for that, and just a reason for me to know. And so I'm glad for that. But I also see myself like just kind of being in trouble like with work right now because I live so far and the commuting is getting hard. It's being sick that I feel like I'm being pushed to really get my spiritual based business going. Like I feel like destiny is just like at my door pulling me out of my house. Like, look, I don't care if you say you're ready or not. This is happening.
I think Andrea and I have talked about this, how we know we're meant to do something and we don't do it, and we don't move, and we don't do it. And pretty soon, the universe, God, creator, however you wish, spirit says, I've been asking. I'm not asking any longer. Poof. Like It literally just happens that way because you just can't. You just can't do it anymore.
Well, that's what I'm getting.
Andrea, you and I did talk about that, didn't we?
Overly humble is not an option. Like, who am I? Me? Oh, no, that's not an option.
It's hard with the relationship one because we both hate the situation that we're in. And I have such a wonderful wandering mind. I'd be wanting to give up, but I know that's what we both don't want. Okay, so I'm confused, Miss Lauren, because on the one hand,
sounds like into something, or they're both busy with their own aspirations.
Are y'all both busy with y'all own aspirations, or is this secret lovers? I mean,
that too.
I gotta ask. I'm not trying to be funny. Don't take no offense. But I could take that two ways. Yes, what? Secret lovers? Number 2?
Busy.
Oh, busy.
Yeah.
You think I was a Scorpio because I go straight to that.
Cancers love gossip, okay? So I'm not surprised you went there.
Ooh. Maybe we like a little tea, maybe. Okay, you're both busy. Well, don't give up. Don't give up. Talk. Be sure that you schedule as much time, quality time, as you possibly can, and make the most of every moment that you do have together. But I will tell you this, you have to schedule it.
Mm-hmm.
You have to schedule it, because if you you have to make it at some point, some level of a priority. No one on your headstone is going to say how hard of a worker you were. Even the most prolific businessmen and women don't have that on their headstones. So what are you going to be remembered for? And the, what impact, what I'm saying? So just be sure that you're taking time for you, because if you do not take that time to rejuvenate and to replenish and recharge the batteries, and then connect with this person that's so special to you and you're so special to them. Like, you're just, it's the time that you do take for that pays off so much in such great dividends when you get back to being busy. It really does help. So take some time. I'm glad Lauren could laugh because he's a busy dad. He just got his sons. Well, he is very, very, to have someone in his life that understands that and honors that is very special. He's lucky. Yep. I understand. I'm just saying, just make it what you can. Yes. I'm proud of him as well. My son has custody of my oldest granddaughter. And you will very soon, Lauren. I know you will.
Yeah, that sounds like something I wouldn't let go, but I probably would just have just a mutual understanding so that way none of you are feeling guilty for not being there for one or the other when you want to be. It's just an impasse at this time, and eventually you're gonna overcome the impasse and you'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah, she says absolutely. I really do honor men that fight and fight for custody of their children when full custody when it warrants it. I'm not saying that, anybody should just have full custody, but that doesn't warrant it. But I also don't feel that necessarily women should either. Because it's not always the best situation. So, very proud of him. Oh no, Andrea. All right. Maybe I should go to bed.
I can't go to bed. I gotta finish my my coding project that's due in like an hour and a half, but I have an extension.
Girl, get to coding. Go code. Right. Don't talk to me.
I will talk to you. I haven't talked to you in like a minute, and I've been going through hell. So I need a break.
I understand. But you can't use me as an excuse for the damn coding project.
You're not an excuse. I have a conversation, so I have an extension already in place, so it's okay.
Oh, there you go. Good deal. Good deal. Oh, hey, Jace. How are you, sweetheart? Yeah, we're going to be wrapping up in a little bit. What else was going on in the darn Mercury retrogrades of them all? I'm
trying to remember like some of the things that I've seen.
I just saw some more documents that have come out. Now somebody posted them on their Patreon, so I know good and gosh darn well I ain't supposed to really talk about them here because you know how YouTube is. But I've noticed a lot more of like the secret information. The secret information that like through the looking glass, like more looking glass information and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that a lot too lately. So, and all the different, what do you want to say? Experiments and like a lot of the metaphysical information and that the government actually already knows but just kept from us. There's something called MJ12, so you guys, if you want to look that up, MJ12, it's huge. It's interesting because it's kind of written almost in poetry. but it really goes to kind of the truth of consciousness and the truth of God and the truth of, you know what I mean? It goes into all of that.
M as a Mike, Jack.
Yep.
Okay.
It's some sort of huge report, like 600 and some pages. Health discoveries, yes. Yes. I just read a tweet and then went to the corresponding article and then corresponding report, like over in the UK. I want you guys to look up like the not Rona, of course, you know what I'm talking about. The Rona transitions in 2021 and what percentage of them had the jab by 2021, 2022, because by 2022 there was a third jab, right? There was 2 original and then a third. I want you to look that up. I want you to look up whether or not they're jabbing over in Europe. They're jabbing children under 11. I want you to look all that information up. I don't want to tell you. I want you to go find it on your own. And if that means that you got to do incognito searches, if that means you got to go grab a VPN, but you really won't need to because this information is out there in legitimate or what you would consider legitimate sources. And then I want you to ask yourself the question, why are we then doing it here if they're not doing it there? And if you think somehow they don't know what they're doing over there, then you got to really think, you got to think long and hard about the medical system over there, because it's not, put it this way, you can go to the pharmacy over there or the apothecary and you tell the pharmacist, I've got this, and this. The pharmacist can give you like antibiotics without you going to the doctor and get a prescription, and they're cheap.
That's true.
Not like here.
They did that. I remember when I was in France.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want us to think about Mercury retrograde, right? I want us to think about that. And I want us to think about the fact that we had the opportunity to really make a lot of discoveries about a lot of things, and the curtain was pulled back even further. If we dug our heels in and refused to look at all sides of the coin, we missed out on a big opportunity of self-empowerment. Some of us have extricated ourselves from the matrix a lot and matrix type thinking, but there's other areas that we're so stuck in. And I'm just asking you, just take this opportunity, because you'll have more of a chance while Mars is in Gemini continuing to upset your apple cart for the next, and it'll be in retrograde from October 30th all the way through till January 13th. It's going to continue to force you to look and think about things differently. So if y'all thought Mercury retrograde was something, you haven't really, like, that was just the precursor. That was the preliminary. That was the pregame. That was the warm-up. Wait for Mars to go into retrograde at the end of this month and stay that way for months. So I hope you're willing to like raise up your vibrational level of thinking, because if not, it's going to be hard.
So if we're talking about retrogrades, which one would you think is the worst out of all of them?
I guess I need you to define worst.
Shakes up the most, I guess.
Oh.
The one that causes the most power moments.
The most personal tower moments, I would say, would be a good Venus or Mars retrograde, depending upon what sign it's in. Because
Okay.
it also depends on what sign it's in.
Mm.
Like a Mars retrograde in Scorpio is not going to have the same effect as a Mars retrograde in Gemini. A Mars retrograde in Scorpio, you might get a lot of them exes back. You might get people trying to out you in regard to your sexuality or sexual behavior or something like that. Or you might find out that your man or your woman or whatever is cheating. You'll get stuff like that. Or you'll have people that might renege on contracts or try to get you to sign a contract that's not good for you. Whereas Mars in Gemini is going to shake you to your core for how you think and view things. And it's going to force you to look at some choices that you've made. And I'm just going to say, don't get down on yourself because of the choices. It's going to force you to think about and look at these choices. And are they really what's in your best interest? And aggressively make a change. But on a world scale, it also is going to put a lot of butting heads, man. A lot of this male, big eggplant energy. You know what I'm saying? So that would be, because the other ones we can kind of ride out a little bit more. I would have thought that Uranus in Taurus would have caused a lot when it came in. Now it's kind of settled. It'll cause more when it goes out in a couple of years. So right now, I would say this Mars and Gemini is going to be a mess.
And Mars retrograde happens every 2 years. So that's interesting.
Uh-huh.
I'm just thinking about where we were 2 years ago.
Oh, good Lord. Oh, man. Lord help us, Jesus. Oh, my God. I've had a personal health discovery that makes me want to change a lot of things. Wow. It's funny because Alicia's dad called me today and he was just like freaking out because his A1C is sky high. And I kept telling him before, like, what to do. But yeah, I think people are making those discoveries too. No. Being a psychic and thinking about one day possibly not having my 3D vision is such a weird thought. Why would you not have your 3D vision? Oh, not having your 3D vision. I thought you meant your 5D vision. Well, sweetheart, there's a lot of things you can do to maintain your 3D vision. Okay? So I'm not even going to hold on to that. We're going to send healing energy to you and wisdom that you be guided to the right things to eat, take, right way to live to maintain your vision, okay? We're going to hold that. We're going to hold you up. We're going to hold space for you.
So the last time Mars was in retrograde was in 2020. It was from September 9th to November 13th. And it was in Aries. I feel like I gotta like remember like everything that happened to like learn from it.
I feel like by November we were coming out of being like by that point we were coming out of being
Isolated.
like completely shut down.
Yeah.
I think that wasn't that the time frame that the jabs were first being disseminated and businesses were just like, you must, and everybody's like, you must. Was that about that same time?
I'm a look.
But remember, 2020. Okay. Yeah, that's right. So remember that was also right before the election again. Like what is Mars in the election?
That was during Was that during the
Yeah.
election? That was during the election. That's crazy.
What is with Mars retrograde in the election? That's a much shorter retrograde as well than this time.
Okay, so it was issued on December 11th.
Okay, so Christina, this is crazy because Alicia's dad called me about that very same thing just today. A1C. This is what you do. You take anybody that has high A1C. I am not a doctor. I am just simply telling you some possible assistance with herbs and other supplements. Okay? And you can go look this stuff up yourself and make your own determinations. Simply, this is just what I have heard. At least 1 gram a day of cinnamon. At least 1 gram a day of cinnamon. 2 tablespoons or basically a shot of apple cider vinegar twice a day. So a shot of apple cider vinegar twice a day with meals. Greek yogurt, leafy greens, turmeric, at least about 300 milligrams per day. Beans, basically the Dr. Sebi way of eating will help as well. Or an alkaline diet. So alkaline water. However, you can't go as drastic as the Dr. Sebi's diet. Then way of eating, cinnamon, like I said, at least 1 gram a day. The apple cider vinegar. The turmeric, I know works, but you got to be careful with turmeric because it can drop your sugars and your blood pressure like down if you take too much. So that you got to be very, very careful with. Starches or complex carbs, right? Like breads, pastas. It's not that you can't have them, but please watch them. No energy drinks. No fructose syrup, which is actually, I think it's in all Post cereals, by the way. If you get Post cold cereal, there's high fructose syrup, corn syrup in all of them. So we're no longer getting Post cereals because all of them have high fructose corn syrup. So watch that. Okay, you'd be surprised. Don't get fruit juices because fruit juices actually have what? High fructose syrup. So make your own or get the simply ones I don't believe have it, or ones that are fully organic. But again, look on the label. Try the leafy greens. Again, like I said, antioxidants, probiotics will drop it all. Okay, that will help. You have, Lauren? Am I on the right track? There, Lauren, please tell me. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you. Eye pressure. You're stressed. You're stressed. Oh, here we go. Stress also increases A1C. Also lower carbs. Absolutely. The supplement berberine. Oh, I've never heard of berberine. Do we know how much one should take of that? Yeah, she's stressed out. You need
Go.
Yeah.
Let that stress go.
You got to meditate. You're going to have to take some time and meditate and relax. I know that sounds, I know a little bit of your situation. That sounds crazy. But you absolutely have to. Your family needs you. No, she's got a little bit more stress than that, D Diamond. She's got a lot of it more, honey. Nettle tea and soursop There you go. Soursop leaf tea. Thank you, Illuminating Mystic Sounds of Meditation. Will assist with lower sugars. Nettle tea and soursop leaf tea. Very good. Yep, stress triggers cortisol, which is the bad fat around your belly. You could tell I have enough around here, so evidently I used to be pretty stressed out.
A Hall of Fame for stress.
Yeah, and I just, listen, if I get, I try not to get stressed out. I really do. I really do. But if you feel it, like, what is stressing you, and see what you can do to relieve it. Okay? You're welcome,
Like
sweetheart.
right now I'm stressed out with not being able to pay everybody at the time they want to be paid, but I mean, getting stressed out about it just doesn't help the situation. So
No.
I'm gonna put my prayers to the universe that something is going to turn it around.
Mm-hmm. And that you be directed in the right way so that it can.
Yes.
That's all we can do. All right, gang. Well, I'm going to sign off here so I can get into bed at a decent hour. I can actually get some meditation in so I can get started on my day tomorrow. I appreciate you all. Tomorrow night, I will not be able to. I made an appointment late. But again, I will set up the live for Tuesday at 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. And we will talk about the whole Jeffrey Dahmer situation, the docuseries, the reaction to it. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because I feel that, there's a large group of people that doesn't want us to talk about it, that they didn't want this documentary made, and that weren't even involved in it, right? Because they didn't want certain groups to be put into a bad light. And I think that's wrong. I think we need to understand people's stories do need to be told. Because it honestly triggered, like I said earlier at the top of this whole thing, it triggered some memories in me that I had put away about how we as a community or as a country, and specifically my hometown, Milwaukee, we treated people of color, we treated people of different sexualities. And it reminded me of so much that I'd forgotten, or just get so far removed from it, a decade away from it, 2 decades, right? No more. One.
It was a long time. I was 91. So
91, 2001, 11. So 30 years ago.
3 decades.
Shit.
Yeah, that was like around the time I was born.
Shit. Oh my good Lord Jesus.
I'm 32. Cuckoo.
Wow. Long time. Christina, not going full. I understand what you're saying, but your body, your brain, you need the rest. You need to slow down. You need to meditate. You need to pray. You need to just rest. Because when you're not resting, you can't think as clearly, and you cannot hear as clearly either. When you're exhausted and stressed out over money and everything else. Babe, I'm telling you, I've been there. More than I care to admit to, but I've been there. You can't see, you can't think, you can't hear. So we were all balls to the wall too. That's how I grew up. But I tell you what, I lay it down when I need to now. Don't play. Cortisol is a hormone that triggers the sympathetic nervous system. I just knew what it did is just made you hold on to that visceral body fat, child. Yes, time flies. I can't believe it's 30 years. When you don't rest, you can't heal. Absolutely. Yeah, lots of hate crimes and more. And the unfortunate thing is the police department just didn't care. They just didn't care.
So what day are you thinking about doing this one?
Dahmer is going to be Tuesday night.
Okay.
Because I don't teach Tuesday night class. And that's going to be the best night. Because Wednesday night I'm appearing on a podcast. And then I have to do my IG podcast. I don't know what the hell's going on Thursday. But I got to talk about this because it's on my mind.
So can you make some kind of announcement showing that well, let me ask you this first. Are you going to put the StreamYard link up, or to have other people come on a panel and talk about
Yeah,
it?
I'm going to create everything. I'm going to create the live and I'll put it out tomorrow. It's best to not put it 2 days ahead of time, but I'll put it out tomorrow and then publicize that it's going to be a live broadcast.
Okay, because I want to share it and see if I can find others that are willing to speak, their side of it, what they were going through. Because I'm really intrigued by, when I first said something about it, you were like, "I'm not watching that because I lived through it." And when you said that, I was so intrigued to just know, okay, well, what were you feeling at that time when you were living through it? It's kind of the people in my generation, we always, or not even just my generation, but a lot of people, we're always thinking where were you when 9/11
Always
happened?
happen. Yeah. And interesting, I wasn't going to watch it. And then I had some other people that I spoke to and we were just talking, right? And they're like, "Girl, have you watched this?" And I was like, "No, I lived through it. Why do I need to watch this?" "Well, girl, I don't understand. Blah, 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 blah." And they would start telling me things. And I was like, "Well, but no, this is the way that went down and blah, blah, blah." Anyway, so it was a lot. And then I realized that they were talking a lot about how he grew up and how his parents really integrate, everything that kind of shaped him to being the way that he is or played a hand in it. And then I said, okay, I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm gonna have to watch it. I don't have any choice. Because I'm getting to ask too many questions about things that I'm not sure about. I could tell you from the external point of view. So I went ahead and watched. And I'm not done with it yet. Like I said, I'm either on episode 6 or 7. I don't remember, child. But yeah. It's
But that's why I also think it's important to have this conversation too, because people like me who, when this happened when I was 1, almost 2 years old. And so if I'm watching the Netflix series, I'm thinking, okay, this is how everything happened, word for word. But some of the things in there are actually not true. Like, for instance, Glenda did not live in she did not live next door to him. She lived in another
no, she
building.
lived in one of the buildings close to his.
Yes. But, when you're watching that series, you're thinking wow, she was literally right next to him and she heard all that. And it's
But I think that sometimes when they do these docudramas, they take a bunch of different people and they put them all within one character. Glenda she was one of the ones though that called the police constantly.
I believe that.
So she was because I remembered her name when they said it. Now, I didn't remember her living in the apartment. I just remembered her being around and her doing some local news interviews and so on. So I knew she was a very important person in this mix. So I think that's what they did.
Okay.
So I'm not upset about that sort of thing. There was another one with how the gentleman that the grandmother's, when he was living in the grandmother's house, he had drugged him, and she heard, and she came downstairs and she sat with him, and he ended up in the hospital, and he tried to get the police department to do something, and they did a quasi investigation. How he ended up in the hospital wasn't that same, like it wasn't like that. Like he didn't get put on a bus and da da da. My understanding, if I remember correctly, was the grandmother either drove him. I think the grandmother drove him, or made Jeffrey drive him with her in the car. But he got dropped off at the, like, it wasn't they put him on a bus and all that. So, but you know, whatever. Like, I'm not, you know, there's some of that stuff I'm not like, they could take some liberties to make the show itself flow better.
Okay.
Shiny, do I have mixed feelings about what aspect? Forensic psychology very much fascinates me as well, which really makes people like sometimes a little unnerved, because they're like, how can you be the kind of person that you are and not, and be so, I'm so like intrigued by how someone's mind works like that. How do you get to that point?
Well,
You know what I'm saying? Like, how do you get there? Like I'm the person that finds Empire Strikes Back as my favorite of the trilogies. Like my favorite movie of all of them is The Empire Strikes Back. Actually, that's my favorite of the first three, and episode 3 is my favorite of the prequels, because I see this descent. I see how Anakin becomes Darth Vader. It's like and I don't know, maybe the weirdness, the weird Cancerian in me is just like, I can save you if I could just figure out how you get there. I don't know.
like the Lionel.
I have no idea.
I have to say though, I did see a TikTok today that was listing like all like I can't remember if they're all serial killers. It was a big list. I think they were serial killers, but somebody pointed out one thing they all had in common is that they were all mutable signs.
They say Geminis and Sagittarians specifically are the two signs of most serial killers. Although I have heard Cancer is right up there, which I don't understand how we could be serial killers.
Because we love so hard.
Oh my God, we're weird.
I don't know.
The movie. Do I have mixed feelings about the movie? No. The feelings that I have about the movie is just that it triggers, you know, of course, all of this happening and, you know, understanding, like just seeing how this could have gone on for as long as it did, and how he could have gotten stopped so many times before, and all these people would not have had to die. And the failure of the justice system, and the failure of society, and how us making homosexuality such a horrific thing, and making these folks, these, you know, people a pariah.
I think the Tony Hughes character, he wasn't a character, he was a real person, but he was my favorite, I think. Like, I felt so strongly for him and his family.
D Diamond. I like Return of the Jedi. It's the best to me. I mean, it's fine. That's the triumphant. I there's this side of me that just I enjoy true crime. I used to read a lot of true crime books. I used to read a lot of like real life murder mysteries and stuff like that. Um, and how they caught them and their psychology and their psyche. Like I never really necessarily wanted to do like FBI level or CSI or no. Well, I don't know, Criminal Minds. I guess they're FBI. I don't know. I never wanted to do that. I probably could have. But I don't know. It fascinates me how the mind works. Isn't that the same thing now that happens with other issues? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know that it's to the same degree as it was then. Well, I will say this. I've had this discussion before, and I'm not trying to sound flippant. But there were hold on, I can tell you. So let's see here. I want to get all the way. In 2020, according to CNN, in November of 2020, CNN said that there were at least 37 trans and gender nonconforming people were killed in 2020. I want you to juxtapose that with the fact that every day in 2020, 5 Black women were killed, or girls. 5 Black or women or girls. That's 1,825. So, and that so the 38 transgendered people represent about 2%, like in comparison. Okay. So I'm not saying that any of that should have happened, but it's not an epidemic. Do I care? Yes, but I would say that for me, I feel like the people not paying any attention or enough attention to the number of Black women and girls that either go missing, because I haven't even talked about the ones that went missing, or that were just simply murdered every day. I feel like 5 is almost low, but well, I'm going to go with it. It's the same CNN, so I'm going to take it from the same source. No one's paying attention to that. And Indigenous women, absolutely. So, oh, that's good, Christina. I'm glad. I'm glad you're studying, and I'm glad you're studying psych. That's really important. So I do feel like in that regard, I suppose, yeah. I suppose. Anyway, that just triggered the watching all that, and then like when they put like the news clips in, I was like, oh my God, I remember this. You know, it just triggered the memories. I was 1991, 68, 78, 88. So I was 23-ish. Yeah, somewhere 22, 23 or 21. Anyway, I was right in that area. I was 21 because I got, no, 21, 22. I got married a few days before I turned 21. That would have been 1989. I'd already had my son in 1990. So I was like 22-ish. I hadn't turned 23 yet. So yeah, it was crazy for me. And then having a brother that's a year younger than me that was living right by him was crazy. He could have been a victim. I mean, my brother's not same gender loving, but he could have still been, lured to this man's house.
And I think that's like the biggest thing about this series is that it shows that he wasn't targeting anybody particular. It was whoever he could get into his place and drug them.
Yeah, because a lot of people forget that it wasn't, it wasn't people of color at first. It was people that were around him in a hunting ground, so to speak. They had
Exactly.
access to. So, and that needs to be a discussion too. Like, was it really racially motivated, or was it just he was living in a Black neighborhood, was very close to a Black, gay bar? I don't know. I don't know.
I mean, I
Yeah.
just think, he was in a low income area and the police don't go there. They don't care to go there. It's kind of like Skid Row in California. Like nobody polices that area.
Well, and not only that, but because he's white, whatever he said was going to go. He was going to get away with it. He was going to get away with it. Oh, I didn't know Milwaukee was one of the top locations for child disappearances. I knew like that in Ohio, that's huge for trafficking and stuff like that. And if we think about it even further, when he got arrested for and pled no contest to harming a child, violating a child that was Laotian, or the son of a Laotian immigrant family, parents. And the judge, and this is fact, like you can go back and find the transcripts. The judge in that case literally said, "Oh, you remind me of my grandson. He had a drinking problem. He pulled himself together. He did some bad things, but, he got a second chance, and I'm going to give you one."
The judge was
like
pathetic.
What? And then to completely dismiss the father, be like, I can't even understand what you're saying. Like, I can't even imagine in 2022 a judge saying that out loud. So the fact that they could say that out loud and it was okay. And then when the man's son came up and was translating, he didn't want to hear all that. He didn't want to hear how that family was suffering. He didn't care. He just wanted to make sure that, this kid, they reminded him of his grandson, got a break. Yes, only men. Only males. Only males. He didn't come off anywhere as weird as the story. Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did, Christina. Yes, he did. Yeah, he did.
I found a TikTok. Somebody found one of the yearbook where he snuck into that National Honor Society photo, and they actually, before they printed the yearbook and distributed, they blacked him out. I could send it to
They
you,
did.
but
Yeah,
I-
they like that literally happened. Please go there, but they only care about protecting the poor white people. Yeah, well, they do. Well, and it doesn't yeah. At that point, when people say that it's all about, so it is about socioeconomic status. Don't get me wrong, but even amongst the socioeconomic status, race still matters. Race still matters, and that's the same way it is where it is everywhere. But especially the Midwest. The Midwest is one of the most racist areas of the country. It is. Yeah, he was weird. Like, he was totally weird. He was totally a creep. Hey, Don. Totally a creep. I mean, you could see him on, I remember seeing him on television, oh, God. And, okay, so later on, when he did, grant interviews and stuff like that, on Nightline or Dateline or stuff like that, you guys have to remember that he had been incarcerated for a while. He had been receiving psychiatric help. He had been taking, psychiatric drugs. He had been, at some point during that time, he started going to church and all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So he actually, because he had nowhere else to go, and he was finally off alcohol. So he finally was getting the help that he needed the whole time. So he would have appeared a lot more normal because he had actually been getting treated.
like his dad wanted.
Yeah. Well, no, he might not have acted weird at work, but how many people, you see this all the time where somebody is committed some heinous crime and they go to interview the neighbors and here comes the, ladies in their headscarves and, or baseball caps or whatever. And they're all like, oh my God, he was so normal. He was a great guy. He helped me carry in my groceries all the time. You know what I'm saying? He came and mowed my lawn and shoveled my snow. They're never abnormal. Or at work, they're just like, oh, he was normal. And honestly, the kinds of jobs that he held, I don't know that you would, not to begrudge anybody, but I mean, the people that went to high school with him as teenagers, they were just like, dude was weird. He's freaking creepy. And most narcissists or sociopaths are excellent actors. I hate to say it, but they are. So, But we'll talk more about that on Tuesday. This will be a very interesting discussion. A very interesting discussion. Yes, all of us wear a mask. Literally all of us. We can't afford to be the same in front of everybody. Like, you can't. I mean, I'm not drastically different. But I am different. I'm different with my grandkids than I am here. I'm different with my man. You know? I'm different with the fam. In just that I can just be that human side of me a little bit more. Or I'm not this. I'm just me. So, yes, most of us wear a persona. It's just that for some of us, our persona is so close to who we are in real life that sometimes the lines get blurred a little bit, and you have to be and I will say this to all healers and empaths and everybody, right? If this is the life you're going to lead, I'm going to encourage you to be very careful. And be sure that you do set up. That's why it's also important for you to have personal time and boundaries, time limits, like that you're not always doing this stuff, and that you take some time for you. Because you can't give everything. You have to take care of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it does help to be authentic. And I'm pretty much the same. Like I'm not some drastically different person. But there are aspects of me that I need to keep personal, and I need to keep as just me, and the people that see me day to day and are intimately involved in my life, that they know. All right, I got to get out of here, guys. I've been on here almost 3 hours. So let me get on out of here. And Melissa needs to go do something. Code.
Finish my code.
Go code.
All right.
All right, hon. Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad I was able to make it so spontaneously.
Yes. Good. I'm glad. All right, gang. All right, Melissa, I'm going to drop you down, honey.
All right. Good night.
Night. All right, gang. Oh, the Laotian. Oh. Good night, Shiny. Was your cousin's cousin? Oh, that's so sad. That's so sad. All right, gang. We're honestly out of here this time. So I will see you guys on Tuesday. Look out for some more shorts tomorrow, and so on. And yeah, don't forget, Lightworker Liftoff is in a little over a week and a half. The link is down in the description below. Here we go. Here's not that link. The link is in the description box below. I want you all also to or you can go to Linktree, linktr.ee/Heart of Inspiration. That link is in the description box as well. That link is going to take you to not only to sign up for Lightworker Liftoff, but it's also going to give you a link to my website. And if you want to book a reading with me, you can do so under personal readings or personal services, I think. And you can book a reading. I think I still have that up there. If not, email me, admin@heartofinspiration.net, and we could talk about it, okay? All right, guys. Peace, love, blessings, and joy be unto you today, tomorrow, and for all eternity. I love you guys so much. Namaste.